It's springtime. Time to throw the kids out in the yard. Just keep them out of the weeds. And you stay out of those weeds too. Live from the hive, I'm Dr. B, and this is The Buzz on poison ivy. Now, we always just say you got poison ivy, but there are several sources of this type of dermatitis, namely poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac. And you can see this distribution map. We're down here in the southeast, and the entire southeast from Texas all the way up to Virginia is all dark green, which means we have all the major types of poison plant. We have poison ivy, we got poison oak, and sumac. Now in Georgia, where I live, poison ivy and poison oak is everywhere, especially poison ivy. Poison sumac, we don't see that up here in North Georgia too much. Mostly it's going to be in swampy areas. Now we do have a few little swampy areas around where I am, but poison sumac, I think you're going to be probably down in South Georgia, maybe Waycross area, Okefenokee Swamp, that kind of environment. This is a picture of poison ivy, and it's growing around some bamboo, it looks like. And you got the classic leaves of three. There's the three leaves, and each leaf has kind of a flame-like sawtooth edge on it like this. Here's a poison oak, and that does look kind of like an oak leaf, like a white oak leaf. This usually grows as a low-growing shrub, but it can grow as a vine. In the southeast, though, it does kind of grow more along the ground like you'll see with poison ivy. And finally, this is poison sumac. This is mostly in swampy areas, like I said, and it grows as like a larger shrub or a small tree. All of these plants have a sticky oil in their skin, a sticky resin called urushiol oil. And that comes from the Japanese word urushi, which means lacquer, because they're sticky, kind of like a lacquer. The resin is found in the leaves, on the surface of the leaves. It's found in the sap, in the stems. And this resin, when it gets on your skin, it sticks tightly to the skin. It's hard to get off. And that's what causes the allergic reaction. If you're exposed to urushiol oil from one of these plants, you're going to want to wash your hands with soap and water. You're going to wash your skin, your hair, your face. Get this stuff off of you. Make sure that you wash your clothes. Wipe your shoes down with some soapy water. The shoelaces, take those off and wash them, because this stuff is going to be very sticky and hard to get rid of. If it does bind your skin, in about 1 to 3 days, you're going to start to see some symptoms. And those symptoms include red, ishy rash, some blistering. I apologize for some of these pictures, but there's a lot of blistering on this forearm. And there's some swelling. You got some itching and burning. Classically, you're also going to see some streaks and lines, and that's because someone has been walking through the woods or swishing their arm through the woods, and that leaf comes and just brushes against the skin. It leaves a linear mark. Also, if you get under your nails and you scratch yourself, you might leave a linear mark. So linear marks like this is very classic. Here's some more linear markings in the right picture on someone's arm, and again, some more of that blistering. Sometimes you see these linear marks here, but you might see some black spots on the skin, some very dark spots. That's actually when the urushiol oil is exposed to oxygen and it's been there for a long time. It can cause this little spots of blackness. Some people have called that black poison ivy. It's the same thing, and really you don't need to do anything extra. It's just the chemical reaction with the urushiol oil and oxygen. There's two ways that poison ivy seems to spread, and that's from direct contact with the plant and it not showing up for a couple days, or from being in contact with the plant, being unable to get that sticky resin off your skin, maybe getting it under your fingernails, and then you scratch and it seems to spread around your body. This is why you keep getting these new outbreaks. Also, if you go outside and you go weed whacking and you get into a bunch of poison ivy, it can show up just everywhere. I mean, that's really bad. You also don't want to burn these plants, because if you inhale that urushiol oil, it can get into your lungs and cause some severe respiratory problems. So do not do that. Make sure you know what you're looking for before you start getting in there and just going hog wild or burning things off. So let's go over a summary of how we're going to deal with this once it does show up, because people come to our office and they want to know what to do. And really, you can take care of a lot of this at home. First thing you want to do, as I said, is you want to wash the skin. You want to wash the clothes. Make sure you get your shoelaces. If it gets on your shoes, which it very often does, and then you go and you tie your shoes, you're going to get that oil right back on your skin again, and you're going to spread it around. So wash your skin, get under your nails, cut your nails short, get a toothbrush, put some soap on there, and scrub under your nails if you have to. Cold compresses might make it feel better. Oral antihistamines, talked in other episodes about using something like oral diphenhydramine or Benadryl. That's a good idea. Talk to your doctor about dosing for that. Calamine lotion, which we talked about that also with bug bites. Very good for itching, made of zinc oxide and ferric oxide. Works really well. Topical steroids like hydrocortisone 1% cream, that's over the counter. It can be used in most body areas up to 4 times a day. What I like doing is putting it on the skin and then letting it dry for a minute and putting Vaseline on top of that. It actually will increase the potency of the steroid, push it into the skin and make it work better so that you can stop scratching. Because if you scratch, you're just going to get worse, and you could potentially spread the urushiol oil around your skin if you still have it on there. And the final thing that we sometimes use is oral steroids. Sometimes we order these if there's a lot of swelling, especially around the eyes or the mouth, or if there's extensive rashing. If someone went out weed eating and they just blew this all over themselves, we might use it just because you can't use steroids all over your body, topical steroids all over your body, and sometimes it's good to treat them from within. But remember, these rashes are going to last up to 2 or 3 weeks before they completely go away. So you're going to have to be patient, use a lot of different methods to get the rashing and the itching to stop. And that's why prevention is so important. First thing you want to do is make sure that you know what you're looking for, know what poison ivy and poison oak look like, poison sumac as well. And you want to avoid those areas where you see this stuff in your yard. If you have to remove it, make sure you use gloves. Protect yourself with long sleeves, protect yourself with long pants. And when you come in from being outside, take that stuff off, wash it immediately. If you've got shoelaces on and you think you got into the poison ivy, please make sure to take your shoelace off. Can't stress that enough. We see it all the time. And clean your shoes, or just keep those shoes outside. Don't use them till next time, and make sure you put on gloves before you put your shoes back on. But cleaning up, protecting yourself is going to be the best thing. There is a barrier cream that you can use. This is made with a chemical called bentaquatum. This lotion you put on the skin, and it will prevent the resin from getting into the skin, and it does seem to lessen the effects of urushiol. So if you're very sensitive to poison ivy, you may want to get some of this stuff. As a couple final points I want to make. Lifelong immunity to the effects of urushiol oil is very rare. 85% of people will develop a reaction to it in their lifetime. And the more you're exposed to it, the more likely you are to have that kind of reaction. It can develop over time. So if you have people who say, oh man, I can just pull out poison ivy by the handful all day long, it never bothers me, be careful. You're going to be exposed enough that it might push you over the edge and you start having a reaction to it. The other thing is, if you're one of those people who says I can pull it out, remember that oil is very sticky. You go in the house, you touch things, it's going to get all over everything. And then someone who hasn't even been outside can get exposed to that oil, and it can cause problems for them. So please make sure you minimize your exposure to this kind of toxin in your household. Well, that's it for poison ivy. Next time we're going to be talking about vaccines and the work of Edward Jenner. Should be very interesting. Y'all know me, I'm Dr. B, and this has been The Buzz on Parenting and Pediatrics. We'll see you next time.